You got to stay fired up. You got to keep that fire in you burning bright. You got to get that burning desire to do the work, the inconvenient and difficult work for a long enough period of time that you turn your dreams into reality. More is possible for you than you've ever even started to imagine. You must stop settling for less than your greatest potential. And so whatever vision you have for your life right now, whatever goals you have set, expand them, grow them, set them bigger, and you will reignite a new fire and aliveness and excitement inside of you that you've never experienced before. Because again, the bigger the goal, the bigger the vision, the bigger the ambition, the more you will create capacity to ignite a bigger and brighter fire inside of you that you can then use to fuel yourself on your journey to do the great and amazing positive things that you're here to do and make the impact that you're meant to make with your life, your voice, your skills, your gifts, your talents. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Excited to talk with you today about the fire in your belly, what it is, why it's important, how to get it, and maybe more importantly, how to keep it going. Because if you're trying to achieve something great with your life, you've got a big vision and big goals, and you're just like, man, I want to do something special and amazing with my life, then you must have the fire in your belly. There's other ways that it is and has been described that I'm going to share with you here in a moment. But I really want you to understand that if you've got New Year's resolutions or you've set goals for the year, then you've got to also have the fire in the belly to sustain the effort over a long enough period of time to turn your big dreams into reality. I've read a book, and I've referenced it before, called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And throughout that entire book, he talks about a burning desire. He says if you want to, he specifically talks about wealth, financial wealth and riches, financial riches. He says you've got to have a burning desire to be wealthy, to be rich. And so whether your goal is to be financially wealthy or to achieve certain goals, it doesn't matter what it is that you want to achieve. You have to have a burning desire in you to turn it into reality. So a burning desire is simply a sense of passion and aliveness and an excitement to do the hard work over a long enough period of time to actually achieve your goals, to become the kind of person that you must become to turn your big dreams into reality. Because the bigger your dreams, the bigger your vision, the more stuff you're going to have to go through. I was just listening to a podcast by a guy named Andy Frisella, and he's built a company. I know they do north of 100 million, maybe they do 200 million annually at this point, but a significant company. He's got a significant following on social media, and I was listening to a podcast episode of his, and he was talking about, what was the exact phrase? He said, the way to be successful is to do the inconvenient stuff, the hard, difficult, inconvenient stuff for long enough until you actually achieve your goal. And so that really inspired me, because I believe that as we're thinking about our goals for this year and beyond this year, we have to have a burning desire, sense of passion and aliveness and excitement and enthusiasm for achieving the goal, or for becoming the kind of person we're going to become, or for creating the contribution in the world that we want to create on our journey of making the effort that we must make in life to do all of those things that I just said. And so the fire in the belly really is this just passion, this excitement. And I know for certain that there are people out there that are massively successful that say, don't follow your passion. Do something you really know can make a difference or solve a problem or build a business, and the thing you're going to do over and over and over again will eventually become your passion. But at the end of the day, even these people, these massively successful people that say, hey, don't follow your passion, I think that's silly advice, they still ultimately say, even if you're not following your quote-unquote passion, the thing you ultimately do will become your passion when you do it for long enough and hard enough, because it will be the thing that you feel most connected to and you care about most. And so my point in all of this to say, whether someone says you should pursue your passion or you shouldn't pursue your passion, both of those sides of the argument ultimately come together and say, you've got to have passion to turn your dreams into reality, to do something big and amazing with your life. And passion is simply this fire, this excitement, this sense of like, I got to do this thing. It's going to happen. It's being fired up. If you've ever been fired up in your life, especially if you've been an athlete, most athletes have at some point, at least once, been fired up in life to do something great. Even if it's in a negative way, you're like, man, we lost the game, or I'm failing, I'm falling behind, or I'm not where I feel like I should be. And you get fired up to get better or to turn it around. That fired up feeling is what this is all about. It's this passion, this enthusiasm, this aliveness to do something greater, to get away from the struggles and the challenges that maybe you've been facing. So you can even be fired up to get away from the pain. You can be fired up to go towards the pleasure, the excitement, the success, or you can be fired up to get away from the frustrations and the irritations and the challenges and the struggles that you've been enduring to this point in your life. And so the question might become, why is this even important? So I get what it is, JJ, but why is it important to have this fire in your belly to do something great with your life? It's vitally important because if you're going to do something great with your life, you're going to face challenges and struggles and obstacles. And the bigger your dreams, the bigger your goals, the more obstacles you will have to face in order to turn those dreams and those goals into concrete reality. Again, back to the book, Think and Grow Rich. One of my favorite parts of that book is when they talk about, there's like 13 steps towards success, 13 steps of success or riches or whatever they call it. But the 8th step toward riches, and you could substitute the word riches for success or achievement of a goal. The 8th step towards turning your dreams into reality is persistence. You must be able to persist. And in fact, what he talks about in that chapter on the persistence test, or what he talks about in the chapter on you must persist, is he talks about how there's always a hidden guide that seemingly comes alongside of you and takes you through what he calls the persistence test. It's a test to find out how bad do you actually want to achieve your goals and your dreams. How much do you actually want to create the life that you're envisioning and dreaming of? Because if you're not willing to go through the persistence test, or basically fighting through and working through difficulties, challenges, disciplines, obstacles, a testing period, otherwise maybe said a season of struggle or seasons of struggle, if you're not willing to go through that, and if you don't go through that, you won't achieve your biggest, wildest, most amazing dreams and goals and become this incredible human that you've been created and called to become, not just for your good, but for the ability to serve the people you're here to reach with your life, with your voice, with your gifts, with the things that you're going to be able to create and contribute because you've gone through the persistence test and maybe gone through it multiple times. So it's vitally important that you have the fire in your belly because you're going to come up against these seasons of struggle, these times of testing, these difficulties and disciplines of life that will require you to have a certain level of passion and fire and excitement to push through, to make the effort again and again and again, even when it feels like you're just beating your face against a brick wall. The metaphor that comes to my mind, or the imagery that comes to my mind, is these videos. I mean, there's different movies or videos out there that you've seen of like, and maybe trains still do this, I don't know, but these trains that they're fueled by coal that goes into the fire in the engine, right? So like there's this fire and it kind of fuels the engine to go, 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 go. And as the fire dies down, you got to shovel up all this coal and you got to throw it into the little stove, and that keeps the engine of the train going so it can persist down the track towards its ultimate destination. This is the vision that comes to my mind when I think about fire in the belly. It's like you've got to fuel that fire so you can keep going. It literally is the fuel to keep your train moving down the tracks to eventually achieve your dreams. And so you might say, well, JJ, that sounds good, great, and grand. Like I understand what it is. I understand why I should have it and why it's important. But like, how do I even get it? I don't even know if I have a fire in my belly today. If you're not sure if you have a fire in your belly today, you probably don't. Or at the very least, it's such a dim and small fire at this point. And that's okay, by the way. We'll get to it in a second, what you can do. It might be such a small fire that you're like, I don't even have one. I don't feel that I have this burning desire, this passion, this sense of commitment to something that's maybe difficult to do that's going to keep me fueled and persisting through the challenges. And so I want to encourage you first and foremost that if you feel like you don't have that fire in your belly today for anything in your life, you can get it. The thing is, most people don't have a big enough vision or big enough goal that actually requires you to have an incredible fire in the belly to persist through all of these things that we've already been talking about. And so if you don't have a big enough vision, you don't have a big enough goal, it's not going to demand of you to have the fire in your belly. So you've got to get a bigger vision in your head and in your heart. And you've got to set bigger, more ambitious goals. So you've got to get away from these realistic goals. I can't stand, I'll probably do another episode on this, but I cannot stand realistic goals. I know people want to set realistic goals so they can feel good about achieving them and checking the box and continuing to move forward. But if you study, and I've studied these folks, if you study the highest performing, highest achieving people on the face of the planet, the people that you admire, the people that you look up to and respect, you're like, wow, they've done something incredible. They've built a great business, or they're great elite athletes, or they've just done something incredible in the world, like massive world-changing things. These people had huge, ridiculous visions and ambitious goals that most people thought were nearly impossible, if not completely and totally impossible and ridiculous and crazy. You've got to be willing to dream bigger, to think bigger, to set bigger goals for your life, because just setting a bigger vision for your life will expand your capacity to have a fire in your belly to do something great with your life. The fact that you have a big and exciting vision will initially fuel your fire. We'll get into in a second, like how you keep that fire fueled, but it will initially ignite something in you. And listen, I see it all the time as a coach for entrepreneurs, leaders, and people that are just like trying to find their way in life. They're trying to find their way with their career. I'll ask people questions about a big vision. What excites you? What would enliven your spirit and your sense of passion for the work that you do? And ultimately, through lots of questions and a coaching process, I get people to the point where they're thinking about a big, exciting vision, and you can witness it when someone starts to expand their mind about what's possible, about who they can become, what they can do, create, and contribute in the world. Something expands in them, something ignites inside of them, and it is so cool to witness. I love being able to see that happen inside of people, and I see it happen when they start thinking about a bigger, brighter, more amazing future vision than they've ever even started to consider for themselves. So sometimes it takes a professional coach or a friend or somebody that's skilled as a leader or mentor to ignite it inside of you by helping you to see a bigger vision. And by the way, that's part of the point of this podcast, is to help ignite that passion inside of you by helping you to believe bigger, to dream bigger, to see that more is actually possible for you, because it is. But most people dream too small. Most people think too small. And in fact, thinking bigger, dreaming bigger is a competitive advantage that you can use to accelerate your success and to ignite that thing inside of you that I've been calling the fire in the belly. So once you're dreaming bigger, once you're thinking bigger, once you're setting bigger goals, the question becomes, how do I keep it going? By the way, one other way to get it in you is to listen to voices or get around people in person or virtually through podcasts like this or YouTube videos, and get around people who have that fire in their belly. Like, that's one reason I mentioned earlier that I was listening to the Andy Frisella podcast, because that dude's got a fire in his belly. Someone else I've been listening to, Dave Ramsey. If you hear that guy speak, he's got to be in his 60s at this point. I'll look that up. He's got to be in his 60s. This dude has a fire in his belly to do something great, to keep building, to keep going, to keep growing. It is inspiring. And when I listen to these people with fire in their belly, it ignites it inside of me. It expands it inside of me. And so I know for certain from personal experience that one of the best ways, hands down, to get that fire inside of you ignited and burning brightly is to listen to other people who have that fire in their belly burning big and bright. And when you get around those people, even if it's simply listening to them speak in a podcast or watching them on a video, it will inspire you. It will ignite something in you. And if it doesn't, then man, we got a lot more work to do on your personal growth. You've got a lot more work to do to start thinking bigger, to believing bigger. But if that seed is at least planted inside of you, it will get ignited when you get around people who think bigger, who dream bigger, and specifically who have that fire in the belly. So my hope is, and by the way, quick sidebar before I get into like how do you keep it going when you feel like it's died out a little bit. I'll get to that in a second. Side note, one thing I'm realizing in 2025 as I go into this year, as we go into this year, is that one thing I've always had my entire life is a fire in my belly. Like, I am a fired up dude. That's one of the reasons that I feel I was a decent teammate in football. Like, I remember when I stopped playing football my sophomore year of college, actually partway through the season. That's a whole different conversation. But I remember one of the guys said, I was so shocked that you quit. You, of anyone that I thought would have quit, you would have been the last one on the list because you were always so fired up. And I was. And because anything that I'm going to do, I'm going to be fired up doing it. Now, it doesn't mean I won't stop doing that thing and go a different direction and pivot. But dude, I'm telling you, regardless, I've got a fire in my belly, whether it was playing football or it's working in my career or it's being great in whatever it is I'm trying to do. Like, man, I've got a fire in my belly. Why am I telling you this right now? I'm telling you this because if you want to keep that fire in your belly burning bright, and so that you keep the passion alive and the fired upness going, so you can persist through the persistence test and through the difficulties and the challenges and the obstacles that life throws at you this year and beyond, my goal this year is to be somebody that stokes that fire inside of people, that rekindles your inner spirit with my voice, with my energy, with my fire that's in my belly. It's how I want to use it this year. And I think at times I've used it, but I've not been as intentional with it. And so I want to use this podcast and other content that I create to keep that fire burning brightly inside of you and others. I just know like that is a thing that I don't unleash as much as I could or should, because it's like one time I was at this event. It was in September, October. It was the fall of 2018. I was at a Brendan Burchard event. It was called Expert Marketing Secrets. Oh, not Marketing Secrets. That's a Russell Brunson. It was, what was it? Experts Academy. My wife and I went to that in the fall of 2018, and I listened to this guy, Bo Eason. He had one of the number one-man Broadway shows on Broadway, and he's like a 20-year NFL player prior to that, and he's just a high achiever. And I remember he was teaching how to speak, how to like use body movement and engage your body and how to be a great speaker from stage. And he said, man, I feel like I have dynamite inside of me that's always ready to go off. And in that moment, I realized I never really had words for it, but that was a big part of how I felt and how I feel. Like I've got this explosive dynamite inside of me that's ready to just pop off at any moment in a good way, like in a fired up, excited, passionate way. And I want to be able to help other people to keep that inside of themselves, and not only keep it, but build it in themselves, because you're going to need more of that the more you go after big goals. And so I want to use my voice and my fired upness to help you on your journey through this podcast, through other content. And so that's a big part of what I want to do in 2025 is be a source to keep your fire bright, bold, and ignited as you go after your big dreams and ambitious goals. So let's get into the final thing I want to touch on here, which is how do you keep it? Because life is going to come and try to kick your butt. It's going to try to knock out the fire from you. It's going to try to put that fire out. Difficulties, challenges, obstacles, people, voices, messages, lots of stuff. Comfort. Did you know that? You're going to get comfortable at some point if you haven't already, and it's going to be easy to feel like, well, why don't I just stick right here? I mean, this is a pretty comfortable place to be, and that's the most insidious place to be because it's not even a pain. Like when you get your fire kicked out of you because of pain, because of difficulty, sometimes that's a way to reignite it. Like it might initially get stomped out by the challenges of life, but eventually you're going to be like, I'm sick and tired of struggling through this pain. I got to get it back and get it going again. But when you get comfortable, it's a tough place to be because it's an easy place to stay. That's why it's a tough place to be if you want to do something big and amazing with your life. And so I say this because you've got to find a way to keep that fire ignited inside of you even when you get comfortable, whether you're comfortable and because it's from comfort that you feel the fire's going out, or it's because you just feel like you're getting the snot beat out of you by life or by business or by whatever, and you got to find a way to get it back. So you get your fire back in the same way you got in the first place. You look to the vision that you have and look to a vision that excites you. And if your vision that you used to have no longer excites you, you got to get another one. You got to create a new one. You got to expand your mind. You've got to enrich the picture. You got to find things to put into that vision that really light you up, that ignite that fire inside of you. And then you've also got to continue to be around people or feed your mind with voices that keep you fired up and excited to do the work you must do. Again, to what Andy Frisella said, the people that win and succeed at the highest levels are the ones that are willing to do the most difficult, inconvenient work for a long period of time. And so, friend, if you're willing to do the inconvenient work and the hard work for a short period of time, that's okay. You're on the right track. But to do it for a long time, that's how the real success comes to you. That's how you create massive success and outstanding achievements, but you got to keep that fire in you fueled up. And so, friend, I know that you can do something great with your life. I know that you can do something special and meaningful and important and big, but you got to stay fired up. You got to keep that fire in you burning bright. You got to get that burning desire to do the work, the inconvenient and difficult work for a long enough period of time that you turn your dreams into reality. And so, friend, I just want to sit here today as we start the new year and remind you that more is possible for you than you've ever even started to imagine. And what that means is you must stop settling for less than your greatest potential. And so whatever vision you have for your life right now, whatever goals you have set, expand them, grow them, set them bigger, and you will reignite a new fire and aliveness and excitement inside of you that you've never experienced before. Because again, the bigger the goal, the bigger the vision, the bigger the ambition, the more you will create capacity to ignite a bigger and brighter fire inside of you that you can then use to fuel yourself on your journey to do the great and amazing positive things that you're here to do and make the impact that you're meant to make with your life, your voice, your skills, your gifts, your talents. And friend, I'm excited to see what you do. And so I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on the platforms or find me on the platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, obviously the podcast. And I'd love to hear from you. What are you going after that you're excited about? What are your big goals or vision? What are you working on? What are you struggling with on your journey? And I'd love to be able to help you on your journey by sharing some thoughts and perspectives and maybe some guidance for what it's worth in future podcast episodes. So if you've got questions for me or if you're struggling through something, please let me know. And I would love to be able to answer your questions right here on this podcast. But in the meantime, if you've truly found value in this message, I would really appreciate if you shared it with somebody that you also know is driven and ambitious and needs this reminder and this encouragement. Or it's somebody that you're like, man, this person, I just want to help this person reignite that fire inside of them so they do start to dream big. They do start to set goals and they go after their greatest potential. Send this to someone you care about. Hit that share button right now. Send it over to that person, friend, family member, coworker, colleague, someone you lead, someone that leads you that needs that fire in the belly reignited. And you know this message would serve that person. And if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe so you get notified when more of these messages come out. And please rate this. If you loved it, rate it. Let more people become aware of this podcast because I'd love to reach and help even more ambitious, growth-minded people just like you who are here to do something special so they can also keep their fire ignited and do some great things in life. Friend, I'm excited for what you're going to do this year. I'm excited for the year. I know great things are happening. I believe that, and I need and want you to believe it too. Friend, whatever you're going after, refuse to settle for anything less than your greatest potential. And just keep freaking going, and great things will happen. You will have a breakthrough, you will find new levels, and you will do incredible things with your life. And by the way, if you've not yet purchased my book, Attract Your Potential, where's it at? If you've not yet purchased my book, Attract Your Potential, I'm holding it up if you're watching the video. Please go get yourself a copy right now over on Amazon. It's, I think you'll really get value from it and find tremendous encouragement in it, some great ideas and insights to help you on your journey of number one, being your best, tapping into your fullest potential, and achieving your biggest dreams and goals. I really think it'll serve you. I think it'll add value to your life. So go over to Amazon right now, grab yourself a copy, or if you just want to listen to it completely free, you can find it on my podcast. You just got to scroll back a handful of months probably, or you can go find it over on my YouTube channel. Just search Attract Your Potential, JJ Peller over on YouTube, and you will find it. You can listen to the entire thing for free on both those places. If you've got it on Audible, you can also get it on Audible, and or you can buy a physical copy. I'd love for you to get a physical copy. I think there's something special about having a physical book in front of you to be able to highlight, underline, write, and just look at it and feel it while you're with it. So friend, that's all I got for you today. I look forward to talking to you again in the very near future. Till next time, keep going after your greatest potential, friend. Have fun. Be awesome.